Imagine a world where death is no longer the end, where the line between life and death blurs, and the possibility of resurrection becomes a reality. Welcome back to the channel, and today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and unsettling topics ever explored by science: the quest to bring the dead back to life. From the earliest civilizations, humanity has grappled with the inevitability of death. But what if we told you that some scientists, over the past century, have actually attempted, and in some cases, claimed, to have succeeded in reanimating the dead? Could this be real, or is it just a macabre fantasy? Let's take a deep dive into the history, the science, and the ethical dilemmas surrounding the resurrection of the dead. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. Our story begins in the early 20th century, a time of rapid industrial expansion and scientific discovery. The limits of human knowledge were being pushed further than ever before, and scientists were not just exploring the heavens or the microscopic world, they were also probing the boundaries of life and death. In the Soviet Union, where science was often driven by ideological motives, some of the most bizarre and ethically questionable experiments took place. One name stands out in this dark chapter of scientific history: Sergei Brukhanenko, a Soviet scientist who became infamous for his work in reanimating the dead. Brukhanenko's experiments began with the development of an early version of the heart-lung machine, a device that could artificially circulate blood and oxygen through a body. In 1928, he introduced the autojector, a machine designed to substitute for human organs during surgery. But Brukhanenko's ambitions didn't stop at merely aiding surgeries. He wanted to push the boundaries of life itself. In a shocking experiment that was documented on film in 1940, Brukhanenko showcased a severed dog's head, connected to his autojector. Astonishingly, the head appeared to be alive, it blinked, licked its nose, and even reacted to stimuli. The images were haunting, a macabre demonstration of science's power over life and death. The implications were profound. If a severed head could be kept alive, could a whole body be reanimated after death? But Brukhanenko didn't stop there. In another experiment, he claimed to have briefly revived a human who had committed suicide hours earlier. The man's body warmed, his eyelids fluttered, but after 2 minutes, the experiment failed, and the man returned to his lifeless state. This experiment horrified the scientists present, raising deep ethical concerns about the limits of scientific exploration. Despite these concerns, Brukhanenko continued his work, eventually becoming a leading figure in Soviet medical science, even performing the first open-heart surgery in the USSR. Brukhanenko's work didn't remain confined to the Soviet Union. In 1942, his infamous video was shown to a group of American scientists in Manhattan, causing a sensation. The prestigious Time magazine even reported on it, comparing Brukhanenko's work to the fictional horror of Frankenstein. The notion that dead animals, and potentially humans, could be brought back to life was both thrilling and terrifying, capturing the imagination of scientists and the public alike. The international community was divided. Some praised Brukhanenko as a pioneer, while others were deeply disturbed by the ethical implications of his work. The controversy didn't end there. British and Canadian medical journals debated the authenticity and appropriateness of the experiments, with some suggesting that the footage might have been staged to promote Soviet scientific prowess. Despite the skepticism, Brukhanenko was honored posthumously with the Lenin Prize, one of the highest accolades in the Soviet Union. As we move further into the 20th century, the line between science and science fiction became increasingly blurred. Other scientists, inspired or horrified by Brukhanenko's work, began their own experiments in reanimation. One such figure was Robert Cornish, an American scientist who claimed to have successfully revived dogs after killing them by asphyxiation. Cornish's methods were as bizarre as Brukhanenko's. He would vigorously shake the dogs' bodies after suffocating them, claiming that this restored circulation and brought them back to life. But Cornish wasn't satisfied with reviving animals, he wanted to bring a human back from the dead. In a chilling turn of events, Cornish found a volunteer, Thomas McMoneagle, a convicted murderer awaiting execution. McMoneagle agreed to participate in Cornish's experiment after his execution in the gas chamber. However, the prison authorities, perhaps wisely, refused to allow the experiment to take place, citing safety concerns and the potential legal nightmare if McMoneagle were to be successfully revived. The idea of resurrecting the dead is a concept fraught with ethical dilemmas. If it were possible to bring someone back from the dead, what would that mean for society? Would a resurrected person still have the same rights? Would they be the same person, or just a shell of their former self? And perhaps the most disturbing question of all, is it right to bring someone back from the dead in the first place? These questions are not just theoretical. The experiments conducted by Brukhanenko, Cornish, and others highlight the dark side of scientific curiosity. When does the pursuit of knowledge cross the line into playing God? The desire to conquer death is as old as humanity itself, but these experiments show just how dangerous that desire can be when ethics are pushed aside in the name of progress. Today, the scientific community is far more cautious about such experiments, with strict ethical guidelines in place to prevent the kind of abuses seen in the past. The idea of reanimating the dead remains largely in the realm of science fiction, though advancements in medical technology continue to push the boundaries of what is possible. The notion of conquering death still captivates the imagination, but the lessons from Brukhanenko and Cornish serve as a stark reminder of the potential consequences of unchecked scientific ambition. As we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that the dream of bringing the dead back to life is one that continues to haunt us. The quest for immortality is as old as humanity itself, but the ethical questions it raises are more relevant now than ever. So, what do you think? Should science pursue the resurrection of the dead, or are some things better left untouched? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and stay curious.